As Mr. Bebb said, everyone please remain muted so we can hear each of the candidates. Please. Now, thank you. And let's get started. Hardy Brown was established in 2010 with a mission. That mission was to close the African American achievement gap. And in the past years, we have achieved that mission. As of the last 8 test scores, we are the highest performing charter school in San Bernardino. Yes, the highest. In my time in Hardy Brown, it has been amazing. Hardy Brown has had a huge impact on my life. I've been here for 8 years, starting in kindergarten, and I am currently in 7th. In Hardy Brown, I've grown as a person and I'm aware of things I wasn't before. Hardy Brown is a school full of hope, discipline, and knowledge. Now, the purpose of this forum is so we can hear from each candidate what their perspective and views are and why they are running for San Bernardino School Board. We have invited all 8 candidates tonight, and we have the honor of having us Ms. Joette Campbell, Scott Wyatt, Heather Johnson, Tracy Capps, Gwendaddy Rogers, Maya Caballos, Margaret Hill, and last but not least, Mike Gallo. We want to let all candidates know that we appreciate your time tonight. We estimate that tonight's forum will last roughly for an hour and a half. To ensure that we do not go over our limit, please be mindful of the limited time. We also know that some of our candidates have prior engagements and will have to leave early, so we want to say thank you in advance for making time to spend with us tonight, and feel free to leave when you have to. I am joined by my 3 fellow senators, each of whom have questions for each of our candidates. We have Mr. Jaquan Jones.
Good evening.
Ms. Isabel Lee.
Good evening, everyone.
And Nashay Trammell.
Good evening.
Now, before we take questions from our senators, we would like each of our candidates to take a minute to introduce themselves and tell us why they are running for school board. Let's go ahead and start with Joette Campbell.
Hello, my name is Joette Spencer Campbell, and I'm running for San Bernardino City School Board because I believe that I can make a difference. I'm not a career politician, but I am someone that lives in the community. I'm an activist. I'm part of Concerned African American Parents. In 2004, when they started to disaggregate the data, it showed that the African American students were the lowest performing. I went throughout the district and sought help within the community. We caught the eye of then the education advisor for Governor Schwarzenegger, and we met with Margaret Fortune and hence Hardy Brown College Prep. The first year out, that school proved what could be done. I believed it could be done then. Now I'm running for school board, and I'm running for San Bernardino City School Board because I believe I can make a difference with the 60% that are still in there that continue to perform lowly. And that's the reason I'm running.
Thank you. Now let's go ahead and Scott Wyatt, Mr. Scott Wyatt.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you again for having us for this wonderful forum. For me, obviously, I'm on the school board right now, and this journey started for me 5 years ago. Actually, started many, many years ago as a parent. Raising my children in the San Francisco City Unified School District.
So better than that. Mute your mic.
Mr. Wyatt, you're muted.
All righty. Did you hear any of that or no?
Here at the beginning, but it's
I wonder what happened, or maybe somebody must have muted me. All right, but anyway, good evening again, and it's great being here. And as I was saying, for me, I'm obviously on the school board right now with a wonderful board and a very diverse and coherent board. But for me, it started 5 years ago, but way before then, as a parent. I always tell folks that we are the first teachers of our children, right? Because we have them right from birth until they go to school. We're the ones that are teaching them first. So I always want to remind folks we're the first teachers of our children. But really, it's just been an amazing journey for me. One as a volunteer parent in all the schools that my kids attended, and then that eventually led to me becoming a board member, which was amazing. What really is amazing, though, is just the results that we're seeing from our children. The performance in our programs, whether it's visual performing arts, whether it's athletic, whether it's academic, we've seen outstanding performance from our kids, and just what we would call programs of excellence. So that's our commitment to excellence and ensuring that our students achieve at the highest level. But what does that mean, that we need to do in the future? Well, in the future and right now, we need to focus obviously on this distance learning that's happening and preparing our students for a different future that we weren't aware of just a half a year ago. So, we've learned a lot in a very short period of time, but really what it's about is preparing our young men and our young ladies for college and career readiness, but ultimately a career. So that's the most important thing.
I thought what we had the other day. They never update.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
If you guys are not muted, please mute yourself at this time. Thank you.
But I'll go ahead because I know usually we have about 2 minutes, and if I keep on going, it'll be about 5 minutes. So let me go ahead and just say thank you again for having us, and it's a privilege and an honor being a San Bernardino City Unified School District School Board member. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White, for that wonderful answer. We know it's been hard this past year, but we'll make it through. Now let's go ahead and move Miss Heather Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Heather Johnson, and I'm running for San Bernardino City Unified School District School Board. The reason why I'm running, to be quite honest, everyone, is for my students. So currently I am a counselor at San Bernardino Valley College for the first year experience program. And what I saw was that a lot of my students come out of our K-12 system, but they weren't college career or skilled workforce ready. So my hope and goal is to have that for our students. I wanted to ensure that we can close the equity gaps, because the same equity gaps that we see in K-12, we are also seeing at the community college. What I believe is I can bring like a really different perspective, because I see what happens to our students after they leave our K-12 system. One of my main 3 things that I want to do is close the digital divide, especially now during COVID. I also want to create a secondary to post-secondary bridge program and advocate for those that uses like a funds of knowledge approach. And last but not least, I'm a really big advocate for early childhood education. But yeah, that's what I'm running. It's for my students. COVID happened and my students started disappearing at the community college level. And I said, well, what's going on with K-12? And I said, well, what can I do? So I decided that I need to go into action and run for school board because I can bring that unique perspective. I really appreciate you all having me here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Now let's go ahead. Is Ms. Tracy Capps with us? Okay, and then let's go with Ms. Caballos.
Hey everyone, good evening. My name is Myra Ceballos, and I'm a parent of a child here in the district in San Bernardino. And the reason why I'm running really is because of my experiences as a parent. I've had many difficulties, and I think I've put a lot out there about some of my struggles and things like that. I was an alumna here in the district when I was, in 7th grade, like I had, mentioned previously before in several forums. I was misplaced in an emotionally disturbed class. And again, that really set me back many years. I lost the whole year, and then 8th grade as well. I was so behind that by the time I got to high school, I really just ended up dropping out, and I ended up not graduating from the district. I actually went to Job Corps in Muscoy and ended up graduating from there with my high school diploma. Eventually found my way into community college. I went to San Bernardino Valley College, then transferred to UCR, and I'm now at Cal State San Bernardino pursuing my master's degree in school psychology. And the reason why I'm pursuing my master's degree in school psychology is because of the difficulties that later my son began to experience in the district. And so that's my main reason as to, why I'm running for the district, because of all of those different challenges and, difficulties, not just with my own education in the district years ago, but a lot of the same issues happening later with my son. And through the program that I'm in and through my involvement over the years in the district, I've noticed a lot of trends, similar trends. There's the achievement gap that's still there, present. Yes, we have made improvements, but not fast enough. Or when you're a parent, you don't want to hear we're working on it. Your child is what they need the help right there and then, and so we're working on it really doesn't cut it for us as parents. So anyway, that's kind of the backstory to why I'm running. I am very passionate. I'm very determined. I have the, credentials, the education to be here. I've, worked extremely hard to be here, and I have the advocate aspect of me, for our community and, children struggling. And so my main areas of focus are really closing the achievement gap through, positive behavior intervention supports. I really educated myself on, behavior intervention plans and how to properly implement those for my own child, restorative justice practices. I'm all about that social emotional learning. I want teachers to be more culturally sensitive, more culturally, trained, trauma informed, mindful practices, all of that, because really the community that we live in, it's a tough community out there, and we really need to provide our children all of the resources and supports. And I mean, kids don't care what you have to teach them unless they know you care for them, right? And so that's first and foremost. And then also parent engagement, high quality parent engagement is absolutely fundamental for me because, like I said, now I have some higher education, but I didn't always. And even now, going to some of these meetings, it's really difficult to understand, the LCAP and, the school site councils. And when you come into the schools, it's not really like an always inviting environment. We're really insecure as parents sometimes, like, I don't really know, do I fit in? How do I participate? How do I engage? And so recognizing all of those different barriers and challenges would have brought me to run for a position in the school board. And so, I don't want to take too much time, but I'm also, really trying to seek fair representation at the board as well. I am the only Latina running. I am fully bilingual, and I think that we need to really merge our communities, our Hispanic, Latino, and Black communities, because there's a lot of disconnect. And so I think that I can bring that part to, or that piece to the puzzle as well. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for your wonderful answer. Now we're going to go ahead with Miss Gwen Dottie Rogers.
Thank you, and I think I'm off mute, hopefully. Thank you to the students. Students, you are always the highlight of the work that I do, and just to see you doing this is just such a delight to be here tonight. So thank you for having me. As you have mentioned, I am Gwen Dowdy Rogers, and I'm running for re-election. I am a lifetime resident here in the city of San Bernardino, a student of actually San Bernardino City Unified School District. I'm very proud to now be representing on the board as a former student. But what struck me the most about being on the board was, as a parent, I was most active in being allowed to just be on the campus and engage and help other parents. And that came because of the relationship that I felt was important, to work with our teachers, to work with our principals, to work with our students and parents together. So my mindset is to continue to do that. As I ran before and on a platform of parent engagement, which included fiscal accountability and transparency and equity for all students, because all students need to have a right to a fair and a quality education. And so I want to remain on the board upon being reelected so that I can continue the work that needs to be done to close the equity gap. Closing the equity gap is going to include our parents, our students, and our teachers working together, and then looking at some specific things such as A through G graduation rates. How can we improve that? How can we make sure that students are all prepared to engage in FAFSA and get the maximized amount of money to make sure that if that is their choice to go to a higher education, that they will be able to do that. And so doing that means working with our counselors, making sure that our counselors are well supported. And the other side of counseling is to differentiate between wellness centers, which is providing another form of counseling, but working towards the mental wellness and the help of all of our students, while we also bring about financial literacy and life skills to our students so that they can be productive members when they transition from high school. And finally, we're in this distance education, which is unique and different. And I know we have spent several months of historical knowledge now to continue for forward to make it better, because I do believe in order to maximize safety for all, that there will be choices that parents will need to make, whether they want to come back when it's time to come back or not. But we want to make sure that it's a quality education when the students do come back or choose to stay, that we're still on point to make sure that they get what they need when it comes to education. So I'm looking forward to remaining on the board and being reelected. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for your time here as well. Now let's go on with Miss Margaret Hill.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you, Harder Brown Prep, for this opportunity. We're glad to be here with you wonderful scholars, and congratulations to all of you. I've been on the board for 9 years, and I'm running this time the same as I did the last 2 times, is to benefit students, assist parents, and work with our staff. We have a long way to go. I don't think we'll ever get to the point, and I hope we never get to the point where we say everything's perfect, because as we know, as life moves on, there are going to be other challenges, and we need to be there to deal with those challenges. So I just want to sum it up, my run this time, and my motto, still moving mountains. I'm very involved in the community. I worked for the school district for 32 years. I worked for county schools for 6 years. I do a lot of work in the community with many organizations of all very diverse organizations. And I'm hearing pretty much the same. When I go to them, they want to know what's going on and how they can help. So my primary goal, as others have mentioned, to bring parents, students, staff, and the community together. But also let everybody know what a wonderful job we are doing, and make sure our students continue to progress and just do great things, remain in San Bernardino, hopefully, but in very significant and high-paying positions, what have you. We are doing that with the number of students we have graduating now with our many academies, so that students who do not want to go into white-collar jobs, they will have very well-paying blue-collar jobs. And just bringing all stakeholders together. It takes a village, and we have the village here, and I know who the village people are in all segments of our society. So that's my reason for running again. We're almost there. We're bringing all the stakeholders together, but we just want to make sure our students, staff, parents all have a holistic approach to education, and we are going to be able to say at the end of our story that it was a wonderful story. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Margaret. Now let's go on, last but not least, Mike Gallo.
Hi, thank you guys for inviting me. This is always great to see student-led initiatives, because this sure demonstrates that our young people can do anything. And this is just great to give them applied, hands-on learning type of experiences, just like we're experiencing here tonight. That's really my main purpose for being on the school board. I'm running for this will be my 3rd election. If I'm fortunate enough to be elected again, it'll be my 3rd term. And it's really to inspire and engage our kids from the earliest onset of their public education experience with hands-on, applied, project-based learning that's coupled with their academic instruction. Because we learn by doing. That's what we learn. And we learn by putting our head knowledge into practice in real life, real work environments. And we want to try to give our students those experiences right from the start, even in kindergarten, so that they can see what they like to do, what are their aspirations, what is their vision, and what makes them feel good, what do they feel like they're good at, and where do they want to see their instructional activities mature, and what types of career fields. You can always migrate and do whatever you want, but to actually be able to figure that out before you actually have to pay for it when you go to college is a great thing. It's a free and appropriate public education that we have here. So let's ensure that we provide students with equal opportunity to experience the wide variety of educational opportunities that they can see. And my ultimate purpose is to see that our students are equipped with the skills and abilities so that they can effectively compete for our demand occupations that we have within our key industry sectors in high growth, high wage industries here in San Bernardino, so we can keep our people here and we can have families be raised multi-generational here in San Bernardino and be economically prosperous. So it's that creation of a passport to prosperity. That's how I see it. That's how I see education. And I see it for all of our students. Our special education students, they can aspire to higher than we have expectations for them. And quite frankly, I think that's really the new racism, is one of low expectations. Oh, they can't do it for a whole host of reasons. Yes, they can. We're seeing it proven here tonight with our young people that are leading this charge and this forum. So that's what I want to see, is more opportunities for all of our kids, and see that they can reach their maximum potential and generate economic prosperity for themselves, their families, and our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we appreciate all candidates for their amazing introductions. Now, I'd like to pass it to my fellow Senator, Jaquan Jones.
Good evening. I'm Jaquan Jones. I have been in Hardy Brown College Prep for 2 years now. I'm a prime example of what Hardy Brown can do for us scholars. I didn't know my full potential until I came here to Hardy Brown College Prep, and I give that credit to my principals and my teachers. Now I'm in 7th grade, and I am maximizing my academic and leadership potential. First question for tonight: how will you balance the responsibility of being a school board member and those of your personal life? First up, Ms. Rogers.
Thank you. What an amazing question. And it's amazing because I was thinking about that today based on how many Zoom calls I have been on. But over the past 5 years, what really prepared me for this is being a really involved and engaged parent. I was at meetings so much at our district that people used to think that I worked there, but I've always maintained a full-time job, which a lot of people don't hear me talk about, but I have a very huge responsibility as well as a foundation. But my priority, and when you call my telephone, you will hear that family is always first. And so I make sure that I'm connected with my family and my faith. And then all of the priorities that come after that, I categorize them and I make sure that my commitments are, if I say I'm going to be there, I am going to be there, and I will figure out how it can be done, because I believe in giving my whole self. I don't dart in and out of meetings, but I balance it and I make sure that I am still home to be able to cook. And now all of my kids are actually, in college, but I still cook and I still clean my own home. And so I hold myself accountable, and so do my family. So I balance it by making sure that all the priorities are in place. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Wyatt?
Thank you. And that is absolutely incredible and a very important question, because, when you make a choice to serve and be a public servant, you really have to always remember that family has to be first. And that's something that I definitely believe in, is family first. So really for me, it was kind of like a lot what Ms. said. I always involved in my children's school. So, being a part of their life, just being at their school, at their sports, at their activities they do there in the music, that's about being an engaged parent. So, that really transitioned into what I'm doing now with the board. And actually, when I had decided to run for the board the first time, it was a family decision. It wasn't my decision. We made a family decision, and it was actually to honor my father-in-law, who had just recently passed away. And he was the greatest teacher that my children ever had. So for me, it was a family decision to honor him. So every time I go to work and work as a board member and just as a person in general, I honor him. So I know no matter what, I'm going to give it 110%. So when we did the campaign, when I signed up at the very last minute to be a board member, or run to be a board member, we had nothing. We had no campaign budget, no campaign literature, no campaign committee. So it was a grassroots campaign, and it was ran by my family and really just my mother-in-law, myself, and my children and my children's friends. And so it was a family experience. I get goosebumps thinking about it now, looking back 5 years, because it was so amazing how it came together. Man, I'm getting a little emotional, how it came together for my children and for myself. And so that was the main experience of it. And so, and just involving them in as many activities as we can. When you're a board member, it's not just about sitting on that dais. It's about getting out in the schools and being at the events all the time. I mean, you could go to an event in this district every day, all day, every night. When we're in school, let me just say that, because we have 72 schools, and then our charters as well, 12, 13 charter schools. So I mean, there isn't a day that you don't have an event going on. So a really balance was also making sure that my wife was attending events with me, and my children as much as I can. But you really have to heavily involve them in what we do, because if you don't, it's very easy to get distracted. Let me just say that there's a dark side to this too. If you're not careful, you can really get absorbed into politics and really helping people, which is great. But at the same time, you don't want to neglect your family, and that's why I said family's got to be first. And so for me, it's been a family journey. Even now, again, campaigning, just the simple things of putting up signs, or we're doing social media things with our children. That's what it's about. And that's for me what it's about. It's a family experience, and I'm so grateful for it. It's definitely been a blessing. And thanks for that great question. Boy, that really hit home. Thank you.
Next up, Ms. Caballos.
Yes, that is a great question. The way I hope to do it is the way I have done everything else. So I have been a single parent up until recently for a very, very long time. And, through that process, I have had to learn to really time manage. I have had to learn to really prioritize. So yeah, I mean, continue to do that. This, as Dr. Wyatt has mentioned, has also been a family decision. And so I do have the full support of my family. And just like he said 5 years ago, he was doing grassroots, that's what we're doing. Raising money is extremely difficult. I have no previous, political involvement or knowledge. I'm not well, I guess now I am, right, a politician. But yeah, it's all friends, family, and it's also been a great experience. Even sitting down here with you guys all and being able to speak. I've been getting better and better. So I've really enjoyed the process. And so yeah, I think that also for me, making this my career, right? So education. Making that my career has also been really important, because I'm also going to be in the district where my child attends. So it's going to be that much easier to really incorporate, my family back into the community. And so, so yeah, that's how I plan to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Spencer?
Okay, for me, this is my purpose. I have been very fortunate. I worked for San Bernardino City Schools for 28 years. What I did with the school district, I've been blessed. What I did, I would have done for free. As a clerk, when I worked in special ed, before meetings, parents would sit down in front of me, and after talking for a while, they would ask me to go into the meetings with them. When I worked in nutrition services, if their lunch was short, or parents would come to the office and they were just naturally drawn to me. So my personal life is what I do. And I've been fortunate the whole while, because my family, my daughter now, although her degree is in criminal justice, she's also gone into education, because she said, Mom, I want to be on the preventative end and not on the punitive end. My niece, that started with Hardy Brown College Prep. She and other community members opened Savant Prep. So my personal life and my purpose, they're one. They're together. It's what I was designed to do in life. If I'm in the grocery store at Stater Brothers, if I'm in the nail shop, there's a natural draw of the people. So how would I combine that personal life? It's all one to me. No matter where I'm at, I've even gone to another state and I went to help my daughter with something. The person we were talking to ended up, pretty much giving me their whole life story. So my personal life and this mission that I'm on, it's really a purpose for me. So it's already combined. You said, how would I work it out? It's already a combination for me.
Thank you. Next up, Ms. Johnson.
I love this question and I appreciate you all asking it. So as a community college counselor, I teach time management to our students. So I teach student development courses 102 and 103 to incoming new students. And I practice what I preach, right? And so my calendar is on my phone, y'all, but I also set time for self-care. Like many of our lovely candidates said, when I decided to run, I talked to my family. I have a very small family. It's my mother and I, but I talked to her and said, hey, this is what I want to do. And I talked to my close friends and said, hey, this is what I want to do. And the amount of support that I got from the community and from my close friends and my family of choice has really helped me a great deal. It's a very grassroots effort. For me, the personal is political. If you would have asked me if I was 18, when I was 18, if I was ever going to be in education, like teach education, I was like, no, never. But I love every second of it, right? So what I do in education, personal is political. Before COVID, I had the running joke that I was on some campus at some time. So if I was at work or whether I'm currently working on my doctorate in leadership and educational justice at University of Redlands, I was on some campus. And so if I am elected to school board, I will know how to juggle it. I've been juggling for a while. My joke is if I'm not busy, I'm not happy, right? And so the personal is political for me. Education is very important for me. It has opened up opportunities for myself that I never imagined in my life, right? If you would have asked me, Heather, are you ever gonna run for school board? I'd be like, no, and I'm doing it now, right? And so it's a combination of talking to your family, but also carving time out for yourself. So I have a day where I carve out time for myself. It is Sundays. I don't do a thing, y'all, unless people call me and need something, of course. But I make sure that I have time for myself, for my family, for my friends, and for my personal life, while also serving the community. If you plan accordingly and right, it will work out seamlessly, right? If you know your schedule and know your appointments and things of that nature, it'll work out seamlessly. You just have to work at it. And also have some grace with yourself because we're human, right? We don't want to stress or burn ourselves out. And I think that especially individuals who are in education fields and things of that nature, we burn ourselves out because it's such a needed profession. We have to learn how to balance that. And I've done really well of that. I've been a counselor for 6 years, and I've been working my doctorate for the past 4. And I'm able to juggle that all. Being on school board, it'll be easy to juggle. I know how to manage my time, and it makes my heart happy. It's what I love to do.
Thank you. Next up, Mr. Gallo.
Thank you. I've had 40 years of practice. I've been married for 40 years this past June, and I've been part of and have led national organizations. I've founded nationally recognized training and education partnerships and nonprofits that are still in operation, and I'm the CEO of. I run an aerospace company, a significant number of employees. I'm a governor appointee to the Workforce Investment Board and chair of the Career Pathways and Education Committee. So I'm used to maneuvering and managing my personal life with my business life, and it's really coupled. I'm here for a purpose, and the purpose is really threefold. It's economic development, workforce development, and education are my core tenets as to why I'm here. The other responsibilities that we have is to be there for your family. And I take weekends off. I try not to fill up my weekends with anything. So it's a vacation every single week. I have a a 2-day vacation with my family. And that's when we do all kinds of fun things. And together, we have a very close family. All of my kids, my grandkids are very close by. We see each other almost every single weekend. And my granddaughter actually lives with me, so I get to see her every single day. And she's actually in college now and looking at social services for her degree and things. So it's really fun to see my family grow as I've grown in my careers. I see them managing theirs, and I'm just glad that I can be there to support them and be with them, even amongst my very, very busy schedule. So, I've had a lot of practice at managing my schedule. I've gotten fairly good at it, and priorities are God, family, country, and I'm and that's my purpose. I'm living my purpose. My family is extraordinarily supportive, and yet they want me there too and participating, and I try to keep my personal life separate from my business life as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Next up, finally we have Ms. Hill.
Thank you so much. I do not have any biological children. And for that reason, it's not I have to worry about helping anybody with homework or putting kids to bed at any time. And so, but I still have balance in my life. There's still things that I like to do. The sports I'm involved in, being a part, having activities at the YMCA, and just other, just other real fun type activities. So it's so important that there is balance as a school board member, because one of the things that I enjoy doing on the school board is being able to go to the events, going to the football games, the basketball games, the plays, and being a career speaker, etc. So, but my balance is pretty good. I'm pretty good at knowing when to pull back and when to give and when to give more. But as far as balance with my family, it's my husband passed away 4 years ago, and since then, it has been so good for me to be around young people and to be on the board. But prior to that, he was so supportive of my role in education that I've always had balance. There's never been a time where I can't think of a time where I could say I've been tired of being on the board. Oh my gosh, how many more schools can I go to this week or this month? So it's always been a balance for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your great responses. Next, we will hear from my fellow senator and great-granddaughter of Hardy Brown, whom our school is named after, Isabel Lee.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Isabel Lee, and I've been attending Hardy Brown from kindergarten through 2nd grade, and then I came back for 7th through 8th grade. I love that here at Hardy Brown, we not only guide us scholars to success, but we are also focused on our academic achievement. I am truly blessed to be able to attend this charter school. I am the great-granddaughter of Hardy Brown, and I am very proud to be. He has served on the school board for 12 years. Our second question for this evening is, do you believe that San Bernardino has the ability to become one of the highest performing school districts in the state? And if so, what will you do to bring that to pass? First up, Mr. Gallo.
Yes, thank you. What a great question that is, because that's when we first initiated our strategic planning sessions back at December 8, 2011. That was one of our primary goals and motivators was how do we build excellence in San Bernardino City Unified School District. When I first got on the board, we were at a 65.5% graduation rate. We're now at close to 95% graduation rate. That achievement alone is incredible. We have gone from basically 0 career pathways to 52 career pathways, providing students with opportunity to have those hands-on project-based learning experiences and in a real world environment, and providing them that type of instruction that leads them to economic development and integration into our workforce. We have initiated a unique way of creating intervention strategies for students that is in, it's not fully implemented, but it is in many of our schools, where we take our students out for a couple of hours a week in specific areas that they need intervention and supports in, so in an accelerated fashion, so that they can be reintegrated in with their other classmates without completely removing them from participation within their classes. So it's you kind of strategically place students into these various intervention supports, which is it's proven extraordinarily valuable in accelerating English language learning, and accelerating mathematics, and any other kind of little deficit that students may feel they have. And we've seen major progress in that. So we've just seen this, and so I know we can continue on this pathway to excellence, and by instituting a wraparound supportive services with students, so that they can maximize their success in their academic instruction. We found it necessary in the nonprofit that I founded, Technical Employment Training, Inc., that if you don't support even adults with various supportive services, their life traumas and crises get in the way of them actually performing well academically. So all of the things that you have heard tonight, the various supports, health and welfare, even food services, and all of the other kinds of intervention supports is as part of a wraparound supportive services for students, lead them to performing better academically in school. And then everything is about relationships. You know, positive adult relationships with their teachers, with their fellow students. Mentorship programs is critical, if you ask me. It's an accountability measure, not only for yourself, but to your classmates, and ultimately to your parents and teachers and school district. But there's multi-tiers of engagement that I think, as is practiced at Hardy Brown School, I know you've adopted all of those things, and that's why you're one of the leading charter schools in the state. And we can get there. We need to be aspiring to achieving what you have achieved at Hardy Brown, and I believe we can. We're on our way to do that. We need to keep a team together to see that this is maintained, and that's why I'm supportive of our current board. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Now, Miss Hill.
Thank you so much. And it's so good seeing you and knowing your family. They have been pioneers for quite a while. In fact, your uncle, your great uncle Hardy, and your aunt Paulette, and your other aunt, who's up in the Bay Area now. We're all graduates of San Bernardino High, and they're our products. And so is your teacher, Mr. Bell there. He's a graduate of our schools. So they represent the best of the best. Do we have the ability to be one of the best in the state? I would like to say to you, we have the ability of being one of the best in the country. I'm so proud when we get recognition outside of California. We have a high school that was recognized for its college prep readiness program a few years ago, and it was the only high school in the United States to receive that recognition. So, so we have had some national recognitions, schools to watch. We have about 5 or 6 middle schools in our district that recognize at the national level. And throughout the United States, every year, there are about 70 to 80 schools throughout the United States. We have 6 of those schools. So yes, we have the ability. We are doing great things in the district. I would say the one thing we have not done as well as we should is communicate all that we are doing. You know, we didn't get to 95% graduation rate by just putting down numbers. Our students are prepared. We do something called You Can College. They come in every year, and I think you were here just last week. They give scholarship on the spot to students who are doing excellent jobs. We've had the Bill and Melinda Gates scholarships awarded to students in our who graduated from our district. We just had one of our students who is now professor at Stanford to receive a $600,000 scholarship to work with homeless and gangs and doing research in that respect. So our schools are doing a great job. Do we have the ability to be the best? I would say we are already the best. Can we get better? We sure can. There's not a school in the United States or in the world that can't get better. And that's what I enjoy about being on the board, because through our academies, through our A through D requirement, through our relationship with the colleges, universities, yes, we can and we will. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we will hear from Ms. Johnson.
This is a great question. I appreciate you all for asking it. For me, how I see it is, yes, we can be one of the best schools in the nation. We can do that. I mean, the best districts in the nation, and we can do that. And my plan is, first and foremost, transparency. Meet our parents and our students where they're at, right? I currently do that as a counselor now, meeting my students where they're at, and it's caused me to be very innovative. I now have a counselor Instagram. I got a counselor TikTok. They have me doing very interesting things. But what it has allowed me to connect with my students and engage with them. And because of that, my program that I have for the first year experience program, our retention rates are 96% to the next semester. 96% of our students go on to the next year of their college, and it helps them tenfold because we provide those resources. I want to do the same in our K through 12 system. I also want to ensure that our students are college, career, and workforce ready. What I see working at the community college is that the students that are coming out of our K through 12 system, although we have high graduation rates, they are not at college level English or math, right? And what happens is, if y'all don't know, at the community college level, after 3 times, if you fail a class, you can have to take it at a different district. And that's what I saw was happening. So I was like, well, how do we close this equity and achievement gap? And that's what I want to focus on. A secondary to post-secondary bridge program that uses funds of knowledge, which basically says that parents and students have the knowledge, right, that they can use, that we can use that knowledge to incorporate into our learning, incorporate it into our students, right, and it builds like a whole community. That's what I want to do. I've said time and time again that my running for office is really about this community, and that's what I want to ensure. So be transparency, meeting our parents where they're at. That might mean, hey, we might have to have several Zoom conferences about what's going on in the district, right? We might have to look at different ways on how we present our material to our parents, right? So we can make it more accessible. I'm a really big fan of, like, you know, sometimes parents can't make it to board meetings, right? What we can do is we can have a podcast that gives a quick overview about what happened, right? Or a blog that's something that's easy and accessible for the people that they can reach at any time. That's what I want to do. I want to create transparency and really close that equity gap, so when our students do leave our K through 12 system, that they are college, career, and skilled workforce ready. That's my biggest thing, because I'm from San Bernardino, y'all. I'm born and raised, and I want to see people know the potential that San Bernardino has, right? I saw it when I was younger, but I want to continue. I want these students to graduate and then come back and give back to their community like I did, and like I've seen others and my friends within the community, because San Bernardino is worth it. Our district is worth it.
Thank you. Next up, Mr. Wyatt.
I'm going to say good night and thank you guys again. I need to head off to another presentation. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Gallo, for your time.
All righty. Well, well, we've heard a lot of great things already from some of our peers here and our colleagues. And do I believe San Bernardino's ability to become one of the highest performing school districts in the state and in the nation? Absolutely. I already know it. And I already know it because I've seen what we've done. I've seen what our students have done and you know, our staff and this amazing board. So absolutely. I know not only that we can, we are, and we will be. Continue to be one of the highest performing school districts, not just in the state, but in the nation. As you know, Dr. Hill had said, we've been recognized at a national level. Okay, that's absolutely amazing. You know, I'll be honest, I'd never gone to Washington, D.C. in my life. Okay, I was pretty, you know, I didn't have a very good childhood. I came from pretty much nothing. And so I didn't have the opportunity to travel. Well, guess what? You know, one of the beautiful things that happened as being a board member was being able to go to Washington, D.C. and see our programs get recognized at a national level. You know, so that's the conversation we have to have when we talk about San Bernardino, is this attitude and commitment of excellence. And, you know, that starts with leadership. That really does start with leadership. And you know, one of the most important jobs that this school board is going to have in the very near future is to hire our next superintendent. Okay, so we're going to have to look at hiring a superintendent that comes in with that attitude that, yes, San Bernardino is one of the top performing districts in this state and in this country. We want that to continue. Right? We want that to continue. So, what will I
I
do?
just got a regular finger.
That is, we got to make sure we bring in the right leader, our next leader. And we don't want a leader that's just going to come in for a year or two and then leave. We want a leader that's going to be here a long time. Because when you want to move the dial in a district that's this big, 54,000 students with our charter schools included, it takes a while to move things. It doesn't happen overnight. And if you look at change theory says 3 to 5 years. So the commitment we want from our next superintendent, it better be 3 to 5 years. So, but you've heard all the great programs we've already done. And let me just add this, we're not just outstanding in academics, we're outstanding in sports too. You know, I'm an athlete. I came from an athletic background. We've had state championship teams. Ooh, I get goosebumps just thinking about that because I've got to go see those games. I've gone to go see some of our kids now in college where they're at. So again, our kids are at the next level because of the great academic and athletic programs we have. And let me just end on our visual and performing arts. We have great visual and performing arts programs as well. So when we talk about high performing, let's talk about it completely holistically on everything that we offer to our children and you know, give to our children, that give them opportunity to aspire to excellence, not in any different field that they're great in. Okay, some kids might not be good in sports, some kids might not be good academically, but that darn kid could be great, you know, on the cello or the viola or maybe, you know, whatever, the saxophone. So there's a lot of different ways of excellence, a lot of different levels of kids being geniuses and having IQ. It could be social emotional IQ as well. But, you know, we're getting ready to be recognized again at the state level with the Golden Bell, and that's for our wellness centers. So again, we're going to be recognized at the state level. San Bernardino City Unified, our city is San Bernardino. So our expectation is of ourselves, our board, our administration, our staff of excellence. That's what we believe in. And you know what? I just want to see that permeate someday into our city government. You know, I know we talk about it and I'm not trying to knock them, but the way we're going to move our city as a city of excellence, not just a district of excellence, is by working together. And that's my vision, my dream, is to keep our kids here, as you've heard some of my colleagues say, in our city, have high paying jobs here, and have them contribute to our economic development, where we want kids to raise their families. You know, I raised my family here and my kids loved it here and they wanted to stay here. And that's my dedication to this community. My dedication to this district is just an attitude of excellence. But as some have said, you know, we have a lot of kids that are underperforming, and until all those kids are performing well, each and every kid, our job is not done. So that's it for me.
Thank you so much. Now, Miss Caballos.
Hi. So absolutely. My answer to that question is absolutely. I think that we have, you know, great people in San Bernardino all around. You know, we are there's probably in this community, there's probably more resilience here than anywhere else that you'd look. And that is absolutely necessary in life. You know, we thrive, we overcome, that's what we do. And so some of the things for me personally would be transparency, of course, access. So bringing down some of those barriers, you know, that parents and the students have. Sometimes we assume a lot. And the reality is that, you know, our county is amongst the poorest county, you know, in the state. And so what that means is that we need to bring more resources to address many of the different variables that, you know, our community faces to be able to make that happen. So pushing the state and businesses, elected officials to get the resources to, you know, renovate schools, bring different to all the schools in the district, not just some schools. You know, talk about equity, right? Talk about, you know, a lot of, myself included, you know, we seek particular schools because our home schools, we don't feel or we don't believe that they are adequate to be able to provide our children the, you know, the education or the level of education, or, you know, you name it. So we seek alternatives, we seek options, and that shouldn't be the case. Each school in the district should have, you know, the level and the resources for every child in the district. And so that's one of the, you know, areas for me. Mental health, real advocacy and real health, because we are one of the poorest countries, or I'm sorry, counties. We see that a lot. We see a lot of homelessness, mental health illnesses, and anxiety, depression, and so forth. And so really connecting, you know, with, again, elected officials, county resources to be able to bring those to our schools and our students is really, really important. Like I said, removing barriers, right? So for instance, myself, I'm a first generation high school graduate, you know, and college graduate. So sometimes we assume that because we live in a certain day and age that our kids are up to date on either technology usage or, you know, just, I guess, common knowledge. For me, I didn't know about GPA until I got to college. So it's that very basic things that we sometimes take for granted, because remember, you know, I ended up dropping out, you know, in high school, early high school. So a lot of coming from a first generation household, having no social capital, you know, and access to higher education, a lot of our children in the district are first generation students, you know, graduating for the first time in their families. So all of these different things and different variables, like I was mentioning, is really, really important. Also, data-driven decision-making. That's really important for me as a school psychologist, right? We need to make sure that whatever we are implementing is based on evidence, right? That we're not just pulling things out of a hat and, you know, we're trying it. And no, they have to be data-driven. We have to collect data, analyze the data. You know, we have to be able to measure progress, you know, make sure students don't fall through the cracks, because what's happening and what we're seeing in our district is that we are having a high number of referrals to school psychologists for special education assessment because they're either too low or falling behind. Well, guess what? The school psychologists do the assessments and they don't qualify. And so they get pushed right back into general education. But then the general education, you know, program, the child has too many needs for the general education program and curriculum, but they don't qualify for special education. So they're just kind of like somewhere in the middle. And those are usually the students that end up falling through the cracks. And so we really do need multi-tiered levels of support to be able to catch on early to those students so that they don't fall through the cracks, because statistics show, you know, if you're having trouble with academics, you're going to have trouble with behavior. If you begin to have trouble with behavior, you're going to start getting in trouble, you know, going to the principal's office. And I don't have to, you know, repeat the data, right? And what the data shows, school to prison pipeline is really, really clear. So, you know, those are some of the things that I really am very passionate about, because I have faced that with my own child. And I've become myself very involved and very aware and knowledgeable around all of those different issues. And so, so yeah, that's what I bring.
Thank you so much. Next up, we will hear from Miss Spencer.
Okay. I believe the district does a really good job with 30% of the population. And those parents usually attend the ELAC, the DAC meetings, and the school site council. I'm running for school board for that 60%. Do I believe we have the potential to be the best school district in the state and the nation? I do. When I saw the performance of the African American students, because I believed they could do better, when the parents were presented with the facts and given a choice, I've seen parents in the sun walk over the bridge and pass 6 brand new schools to get to Hardy Brown College Prep. On the hottest days of the year, I've seen parents do that. When they were given a choice for a high quality education with high expectations for their children, they chose. They came to a school without a playground that was in the Central City Mall because they wanted more. I believe that 60% also wants more. When they're presented with the facts and they can see that they have choices, when they're giving all of the information. And I guess I can't settle for 30% doing a wonderful job. You know, they're out there doing it. Those students only needed a little support. But we have a population, when we talk about the poverty, we have more than those 30%. And to be honest, they would have made it with or without it. They would have sought out information. I knew my children were going to be successful because I was going to do whatever necessary to make them successful. But I didn't want them believing that they were born into something inferior. That's why I pushed. And my family, when you talk about, when I talk about it being a purpose for me, I have a sister that's a 4th grade teacher. My family we do education. When we were out talking to the parents, my whole family was there, all of our children, my grandkids. Even right now, they talked about the trips that they have been on. When they went out to all of the meetings, we had babies and strollers. I have 2 sets of twin grandchildren, and they have grown up. And they started at Hardy Brown College Prep. And the first day my granddaughter, she came home, and she was in the 1st grade. And I asked her what she learned today. And she was actually able to tell me everything that she learned. I believe when those 60%, when you give them factual information and you lay it out and explain it to them, I believe that, and somebody has to walk through these things with them also. You can't just refer families, you know, to different places. Sometimes you have to walk them through it. So yes, I do believe that we have the potential to do great things. And I believe that I can make it happen. When I was I was a school district employee. And as a student, you won't understand what that meant, working on a charter school, being a school district employee. I was told to wait. I was told that we had everything we needed to succeed. And my feeling was, if we had not done what we needed to do, then the deficit is not in our children. The deficit was in the system and the way, some of the ways that things were set up. So I believe we have that potential. And I believe when you give parents and guardians in this community the information that they need, and we work on it together, I believe we can get it done. And I applaud that 30%, but I'm basically running for that 60%.
Thank you. And last but not least, Ms. Rogers.
Thank you. And I ditto many of the things that have already been said, and so I won't do any piggybacking. But what I will do is add to our district mindset is being number one. And it shows in a lot of the things that we are doing and have done. We've been the first in doing so many things, because our goal is, within our strategic plan, is excellence for all. And I love that, which is another thing that brought me to the board, is excellence for all, which means that is our number one accountability when we go back and we talk to the superintendent, and that the superintendent that just recently transitioned to a different type of work that was with us. My kids were in the district at the time. And as a parent, I wanted the best for my students. But again, they have to do the work. They have to learn how to engage with the teachers and work with them and be accountable. And that is what I saw happen. And I look at their lives today. And of course, as many have mentioned, you know, I wanted them to do well. We want all of our kids to do well, but when they go into the classrooms, you know, that's where they have to learn and they have to do. And so I made a point that, just as I did as a parent, it was to require excellence of the teachers. I tell the story to people all the time, all the way up until my kids were out of the school. When I became a board member, I sent the same email to the teachers every year. Hi, my name is Gwen Rogers. Here's my phone number. You know, if there's anything I can do to support and help, I'm willing to be there, because this is the student that is sending, and this is my expectation. And that expectation lined up with what the district said. If you say excellence for all, that's exactly what I want to see. And I even told the former superintendent, I said, I'll let you know how well you did after I see what happens with my students. And I meant that. And I meant that for other parents as I engage with them. And I mean that today. It is excellence for all. We want to be the first I told the superintendent, I want you to be the first in the nation to talk about African Americans, Black students. I don't want you to be afraid of that, because we as board members are holding you accountable to that. Let us expand. Many of you on this call, I know of and knew of the TIP policy, but as it was there with us, we looked and said, well, we need to put some more money into that, because this was a work that had begun. Let's move it forward through our equity and target and student achievement department, and many things, many of the first that we've talked about, that's where it came about, because we made a commitment. We're not going to be afraid to talk about the deficits of Black students. We're not going to be afraid to say, here is the problem, let's fix it. Let's hire excellent teachers, excellent administrators, excellence. And many of those administrators today are being called upon to go to other districts for all of the wonderful work that we took upon courageously to do. So again, being on this board is being courageous and saying things that, you know, sometimes people don't like what you're saying. But my thing is, if there is a child that is failing, we're in the business of children succeeding. We're in the business of lifting up children, just like you are doing tonight. You are our priority. And I tell people that all the time. If I was a car salesman, then my job is to sell cars. We're in the education business, and we're being in that business is to see you succeed. So I, as a board member, and I say this all the time, I am proud of our graduation rate, but I am always asking the question, what happened to the 6%? What happened there so we can close our equity gap through 100% numbers? And I don't know what others are doing in their districts, but the requirement here is that's our bar. Until we are at 100%, that's where we continue to push. Yes, we stop and we celebrate, and we're so happy for those celebrations. I'm happy that my kids did well, but I am not satisfied until everyone is doing well. So thank you again for asking that question, because I know, you know, we can do better, but we have come a long way. And I just think this is in my 5-year experience being on this board, pushing with the right mindset. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for those amazing responses. The next question for this evening will be asked from my fellow 8th grade Senator, Nashaya Trammell.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nashaya Trammell, and I have been at Hardy Brown for 2 years. These 2 years at Hardy Brown have been great. I met my first African-American teacher in the 5th grade, and in homeschool in the 6th grade, when it came to field trips or testing, I was 1 out of 4 African-American students there. When coming to Hardy Brown College Prep, I had a total culture shock. Not in a bad way, but I was able to have the opportunity to learn about the African-American culture the way I wasn't able to before. Our final question for the evening is, as an elected school board member, will you support the renewal of Hardy Brown College Prep's charter? Before we get into answering the question, I would like to ask each candidate respectfully to take 2 minutes to answer the question for the sake of time. We would first like to hear from Ms. Caballos.
Yes, absolutely. I think that it's really unfortunate that I didn't know about your charter school, honestly, earlier. I would have applied there. Yes, I think that parents should have the ability to have choice. And if you guys are, I would like to know more about your program and more about what you're doing, because it sounds like you guys are doing such an amazing job. And if you guys are doing it, I want to know, what is it that you're doing? What is it that you're doing effectively? And I might have an idea. But yeah, absolutely, I think so. And I'm, really, really thankful to be here and appreciative of what you guys are doing. Keep doing it, because we do need to, continue to push forth and make space, for ourselves where there isn't space. And so, so yeah, I look forward to working with you guys.
Thank you for that answer. Next, Ms. Johnson.
Oh, yes, I would totally. Thank you for this question, but I would totally, yes, renew, because what the work that you all are doing here is imperative. Very similar to you, in my high school graduating class, I was one of only 6 Black students in my high school graduating class. I did not learn about like African American history really until I was in college, right? I didn't see myself in literature until I read Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison my senior year of high school, right? And so it's imperative. Students need this representation. Students need this voice, especially our Black children, our Black students. I think that's imperative. And what you all are doing here, we could probably do something like this that is similar district-wide that is imperative for our students. So I'm a big fan of it. I wish I had something similar to like that when I was a kid. Many times I was the only Black student in my class on many occasions, going up through K through 12. So it's imperative. I think it's also imperative, y'all, if we look at ethnic studies requirements that are coming down, right? We see it coming down on the college level, and it's also going to be coming down in K through 12 for graduation for high school. It's imperative. I think that we need it. Like I said many times, representation matters. It mattered to me. I didn't see myself till later on in my educational journey, so I think that that's what we need, and I'm in full support of it. You all continue to do this great job. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that great answer. Next, Ms. Rogers.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this question. Now, I know you guys all made a disclaimer at the beginning, it's our personal opinions. And I do want you to know, I applaud the work that you are doing and the continuation of it. I was there even when you all, I can remember back, I think it's Woodard Academy now, when you stood there and made your appeal and it became, Hardy Brown Prep. I was there and even have had an opportunity to do some programming over there when you're at the Central City Mall. As a board member, our decisions are made together. I'm not an individual person outside of the board, but I will say the accountability piece and the things that you're doing, you have been doing a great job. And, that's what we foresee you doing. And I know we've worked together. I've come over and interface. And so I'm still a champion of you all. But as a board, we make a board decision. I can't, talk about something in the future. But where you are right now, I see no problem supporting the work that you are doing, the continuous work, and just keep it up. I mean, what we're seeing tonight, I am again impressed. I've come over and I've seen you live and live in color. Probably some of you that are older now on this call, but my personal opinion, you're doing a great job and I appreciate it. And then as a board, you bring us everything and tell us more, and then that we make a decision together as a board. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to hear from Mr. Wyatt.
All righty. Well, that's an easy one. The first answer is absolutely yes, we do. And we have already when you guys have come up for charter renewal. And, it's not hard to support a program of excellence. You've heard us talk about excellence again and again and again. And, I'm definitely a pro-charter school, just so you know, and sometimes that's a big issue, right, with the unions and stuff. But, my whole philosophy behind that is if we're not doing a good enough job as public schools, then, charter schools, go for it. go ahead and do a better job than us. And so, you know, to me, competition's good. All right, competition is really about what our economy is about as well, and a lot of times in our country, because if we're competing to do a better job than the other person, then we're definitely competing for excellence, right? And excellence is what we see at Hardy Brown Prep. We see it. I mean, I look at you on the screen. I'm like, I'm impressed. I see all dressed in your uniforms and how professional you look, and just how you present yourself, and that's what we want for every child. Now, that's what we want for every child. And again, if we're not doing it for every child in our district, then good for the kids that have a choice. You know, good for the kids that say, hey, I'm going to go somewhere else because you guys aren't cutting it for me. And I'll say this right now, we failed a lot of kids. And that's hard for me to say because it really does hurt, because the district failed my son at one time. And that was another piece that really pushed me towards becoming a board member. And it was on a mental health issue. And you can see how personal that is for me. So I don't ever want that to happen for any other kid. I really don't. And like I said before, until every child, I mean every child in our district, is well taken care of, and is treated the same way and treated again with excellence and support, we haven't done our job. We haven't done our job. And so that is our mission. Our mission is to, you know, you see my signs, and God forbid, you know, all those crazy signs that we put out there, and all students matter to me. And that's always been my mantra. As an educator, if you don't know, I've been an educator for almost 25 years. My doctorate degree is in educational administration, emphasis on equity and social justice. I've gone through those challenges. I grew up in a predominantly white city, and being a kid who's mixed race, it was very, very tough. I'm first generation on my mom's side of my family. My mom made it to the third grade. Okay. She couldn't even help my kids do their schoolwork when they were in kindergarten. You know how hard that was for me to watch for my mom. You know, she was embarrassed. And so, you know, nobody should be embarrassed. Everybody should be proud of who they are and where we come from. And, you know, so, and I see Mr. Brown here. I saw Mrs. Brown as well earlier, and thank you for creating, and, you know, Miss Fortune and others that are here for creating such an amazing program over there for our kids, and definitely, you know, our kids of color who have been neglected. I know that, and that's where we have to improve, and we are improving. You know, you look at our board, we're very diverse. We're a board about equity. I'll tell you that right now. We're one of the first, if not the first, and my colleagues could correct me here, who's passed a board policy on ethnic studies. The state hasn't done it, but we have, okay? We have. So that's how important it is for us to respect and honor diversity and who we are. It's who I am and what I believe in. And so when I see a school like Hardy Brown Prep College, I mean, wow, we should be ashamed because you guys are killing it over there, right? And we need to do that in each and every school too. So congratulations to each and every one of you. We're very proud of you. We're very proud of what you're doing over there. We know you're our future, and you're our future scholars. You know, again, we couldn't be more excited to see great things happen like they're happening for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hyatt. Now we'd like to hear from Ms. Hill.
Thank you so much. And I want to congratulate all of you scholars for the great job you're doing. 9 years ago, one of the forums that was held at Hardy Brown. We were over in Carousel Mall at the time. And so it's good to be with you again. We have several, I think we have 12 or 13 charter schools. And they exist because as a board, we said we like what you're doing. And if we like what you're doing, we're going to support you in every way that we can. So we will continue supporting Hardy Brown Prep Academy as we do all of our charter schools. You're not stepchildren. You're part of us. You're part of us. So we appreciate parents having choices so that you can do things in a different environment. It doesn't mean that the traditional schools are doing things that's really bad or out of reach for you. It means that you are looking at another way of doing things, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a part of life. That's a part of life. That's a part of education. That's a part of growing up, and that's a part of pulling out your own greatness and realizing what's good for you. but you exist because we support you and what you are doing. So we will always be there for you as long as Hardy Brown and all of our other charter schools continue doing what you're doing. So we're proud of the work that's going on at your school. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. And last but not least, Ms. Spencer.
I may have to abstain. I don't know if I would be able to. They have different rules that go with what you vote on. And so I would have to abstain. But I'd be pulling for you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you guys for your great responses. I will now pass it back to my fellow Senator Serenity Satterfield.
Thank you, Nishay. Now I wanted to thank all candidates for their answers tonight. I would like to ask, would any of you guys like to give a closing remark? Oh yes, let's start with Ms. Spencer.
Serenity, was it this year? All of the students, when we were designing Hardy Brown College Prep, one of the things that we looked at was character education, because I believe character is consistent. What you're doing right now, I'm just so proud of you. I'm probably going to cut it short because the first forum we did, parents organized it and brought it together. And now we have students doing it. I'm just so proud of you. And when we looked at character education, there were things going on, and I think somebody alluded to it earlier, with government officials, that at the time that we were working on Hardy Brown College Prep, there was a lot of turmoil going on at the county level with different officials that we had elected into office. And we talked about that we wanted, even if you have a great education and no matter what you've achieved, if you don't have good character and if you're morally bankrupt, good character and commitment produced Hitler. So we wanted something more than, not good character and commitment, but just being committed to doing something produced people like Hitler. So we wanted something different for you. And so I'm so proud of what you're doing right now that I just think it paid off. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your answer. It was a pleasure having you here. Now, next, Ms. Johnson.
I wanted to first and foremost thank you all for this lovely event. When I saw it in my inbox, like I said earlier, I was so excited because this is led by students. That makes my heart happy. But I just wanted to say, y'all, I'm really about the community. I was born and raised here. I was raised by an educator. My mother was an elementary school teacher for 36 years. My grandmother, Bonnie Johnson, helped desegregate schools in San Bernardino back in 1965. And I really want to continue their legacy. Like I said, I'm really doing this for my students. I want to ensure that their career in college ready. That's my heart. That's what gets me excited. That's what I do in my day job, but I do it because I care about our community. Like I said earlier, my 3 things are closing the digital divide, creating a secondary to post-secondary bridge program, and advocating for early childhood education. I don't know if you all know, but if students don't have early childhood education, they're already 5 years behind by the time they reach kindergarten. And we can't have that for our students. If you all want a unique perspective, someone that has a community college perspective that sees what happens to our students after they leave our K-12 system, check me out. You can check me out on my website, hereforheather4.com. You can find me on Instagram at hereforheather, or you can find me on Facebook at Heather Johnson for San Bernardino Unified School Board. I also put it in the chat for you all if you all want to check it out. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to have Ms. Rogers.
Thank you. And again, as been said, and I just have to say, you students did a just a fabulous job. Just to see you reminds me of, we have a program called Grow Your Own. That means it's, you know, as our students are matriculating, they come back if they want to be teachers, and then we have a contract that we say come back, because that's how we change the system. You see something that's wrong and you come back and you right it and you make it better. And what you're doing tonight, you're leading the way, just very professional. Like I don't even know, I mean, I know you're various ages, but I didn't see myself doing this then. So you're just doing great. We appreciate you. That's why I want to stay on the Board of Education, to be able to carve out the future and be able to support. We even encourage student board members, because we're giving you that role to sit in and to see what it will be like as you move forward and want to make that change. But you all have exemplified it tonight. You're the Grow Your Own of Hardy Brown Prep, and we want you to continue to do that. And as you see us out there, I don't like to call myself a politician, but you know, unfortunately, I guess that's the title that they come up with. But when you see me as a community leader, see me as a partner in your education, because that's how I see myself. I'm serving my community that once gave back to me, and this is how I can do it. I have no limits of how much I can serve and how much I want to give back, and I want to continue to do it. There's more work to be done, and I'm up for the challenge. And so thank you so much for having me, and win with Gwen.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you for being here and for your wonderful responses. Now, Ms. Caballos.
Yes, again, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Probably one of the best forums that I've attended thus far, to be honest. I feel really comfortable right at home. So thank you so much for everything. Thank you for putting this up for us. So yeah, I just want to close off by just really expressing to everyone here tonight that my sole purpose and intention for running for this position is for the betterment of the students. And I think that I can bring a very unique perspective, you know, based on all of the challenges and different barriers that I have had to overcome, and really just pushing forth and succeeding through all of that. I think that I really have an understanding for the community, you know, being a single parent on welfare, you know, having to go through community college through their CalWorks program there, like all of those different obstacles and challenges. It's difficult, you know, and I think that there's a lot of young people in the district that, you know, unfortunately find themselves in situations like the one I was in, you know, being a teen parent, things like that, and just really helping with bridging some of those, you know, resources that we do have out in the community. It's already hard as it is out there. So, yeah, I'm just, you know, most importantly, I want to serve you all for, you know, however long you'll have me. But I also want to create ways to train and teach young people in our community to become leaders, you know, to their community, just like I'm aspiring to. We're not meant to be in office, you know, for forever, and nor do I want to, you know. I want to come in, bring in my view, bring in, you know, do my part, and then move on, you know, and allow somebody else to come in, because the reality is that some challenges remain, but some challenges are also new, and you know, we have to give space for those new people to come in. And so I really would appreciate your guys' support. Please, if you want to follow me on Facebook and Instagram, Myra for SBCUSD, Myra with an A, M-A-Y-R-A at SBC, sorry, M-A-Y-R-A 4, the number 4, SBCUSD on both Instagram and Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Caballos. Now let's go on to Miss Margaret Hill.
Thank you, scholars. And I tell you, if this was a live audience, I would tell everybody to stand up and give you the biggest applause ever, because you did just a wonderful job. I enjoy what I do, and I do what I do based on students and just moving you to the next level. We appreciate you and your hard work. But what we do for 54,000 students in this district, which covers our 76 schools plus all of our charter schools. So I ran for school board, and I know I've been on for quite a while, but I still feel I have a lot to offer because, believe it or not, I listen more than I speak. And when I listen, I want to hear you because your voice is important. Your voice is very important. Parents' voices are important. I've had a chance to visit classes at Hardy Brown 2 or 3 times. I just want to say that it's always good to take back to the board what we see, not only at Hardy Brown, but at any of our schools. Those good things are going on all over San Bernardino. And we're just so glad that you're part of it and that you are in our district. And again, I'm on the board to make a difference. I'm on the board because listening to you, listening to parents, I know there's still a lot of work to be done. We are proud of everything that we've done, but no place have we flattened out. We keep moving on up, moving on up. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. And again, I'm always available to visit any school, but whatever happens, and I want you to know this as well, I'm running because I feel I can win, but if I don't win, I'm not going away because I've been working in this district for over 40 years, and whether I'm on the board or not, I'm still interested in young people and I'll be out and about. So it's not one of those things where you see me now, if I don't make it, you know, that you might see me in 4 years. No, if I don't make it, you're going to see me the next week, the next month, and the next year, and the next, if not the next day. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Now, last but not least, Mr. Wyatt.
Oh, wow. Thank you again. And, you know, I didn't know if we were going to have closing comments or not. So I started writing you a little message, you know, before I thought we might get cut off. And, you know, one thing you'll learn about me is I like to keep it real. And I'm a pretty emotional guy. I like to speak from the heart because that's just who I am. And when I say something, I really mean it. And when I say to you, our scholars here today, this is by far the best candidate forum that I've been in. And the reason why is because I think you've brought out the best in all of us, you know, and that is through your techniques, your questioning. And wow, I have to applaud you so much on this because, you know, you really brought out, I think, what's most important to each and every one of us. You really touched us at our core. And when I say our core, I mean our moral beliefs, our professional beliefs, our philosophical beliefs. I hate to throw our political beliefs in there as well. That's probably at the bottom. But really our core beliefs, and that for me, as you heard, is family. And, you know, when I see each and every one of you here, I think, God, this is part of our San Diego City Unified School District family. And we got a big family, trust me. But if we treat every kid and every community member out there like our own family, then I know how we're going to treat you. And that's high expectations because we want the best for you. We really do. But I'll tell you what, I feel confident in our future by meeting young children like you, young men, young ladies who are extremely professional, that say, I know that you're going to do well in life. I know you're going to be respectful to others. I know you're going to have love in your heart for others. And that's what it's about, folks. It's about, you know, treating our community, treating each other with respect and dignity. And if we do that, our world just became a much better place. It really did. But wow, you guys are outstanding. I'm blown away, which is great. I always like getting blown away by kids and saying, gosh darn, you guys are amazing. And, you know, just tonight, again, affirm that I know that the sky's the limit for each and every one of our kids, and you're showing that. And applaud yourselves, please. Really, really, like some of my colleagues have said, you know, my applaud to each and every one of you for doing such an amazing job. I mean, I felt at home right now. I really did. I know I'm at home, but I felt at home right now. And I thank you for that because I think you brought out the best of me as well tonight. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you, candidates, for your amazing and wonderful answer today. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to come into this forum with us. We appreciate you. And I also want to say thank you to the community for coming and supporting us. We wish everyone a good night. Thank you.
Oh my God, congratulations. I had to just come out mute and say it. You guys
Great job. Thank you. Great job.
You did a great job. I can't hold
Great
it any
job,
longer.
everyone.
Oh my God.
Good job.
Kudos, thumbs up. You guys are
Staff teachers, Hardy, Cheryl Brown, great job.
everybody.
Your
Great
legacy will live on. Your legacy will live on with these amazing.
Absolutely. Thank
Good
you.
night to all.
What a way to end the night.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Not impressed.
Thank you all for being here. It was an honor.
Bye.
Good night. Many
Thank you. Good night.
Students and scholars, wonderful job. Mr. Brown has been sitting here and just enjoyed every minute of it.
Woo, way to go.
Good night. Great job.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
Good night. Have a great day, everyone.